President Cyril Ramaphosa described his second cabinet reshuffle as the first wave of government realignment. He merged the Departments of Communications with Telecommunications and Postal Services to be headed by the new Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams. He also moved Dr. Siyabonga Cwele to the Home Affairs portfolio, and Nomvulu Mokonyane replaced the late Edna Molewa as the new Minister of Environmental Affairs. Former Public Enterprises Minister Barbara Hogan revealed to the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture that while she was compiling evidence for the Commission, she sought help from her previous ministry, but upon receiving the necessary documents, she learned that some of her documents had been tampered with. In his closing remarks at the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, Public Enterprise Minister Pravin Gordhan once again appealed to all of those who have evidence of wrongdoing on his part as former Finance Minister to come forward and give evidence to the Commission under oath. Wrapping up State Capture news, the North Gauteng High Court ruled that former President Jacob Zuma must pay his legal costs to the State Capture review case. President Cyril Ramaphosa fired SARS Commissioner Tom Moyane. Moyane was suspended in March following a string of controversies over his running of SARS, and Ramaphosa's oral reply session in Parliament was marred by chaos as the DA and the EFF clashed in the middle of the session. Former Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba resigned as an MP. The presidency clarified that after Gigaba's resignation as minister is not an admission that he lied under oath. As a court and public protector, Busisiwe Mqwebani's findings on the Fireblade aviation found. Earlier in the month, Gigaba apologized on social media for the pinky finger gesture towards EFF MP Mbuyiseni Ndlozi by suggesting that the president starts ordering low-tech cell phones that do not have cameras and cannot be hacked. This in relation to Gigaba's sexually explicit video which went viral on social media. The board of the Public Investment Corporation accepted the resignation of CEO Daniel Machila with immediate effect. Earlier, it emerged that Machila had offered to step down on condition that he is actively involved in introducing his successor to the job. However, it is not clear if there were any conditions attached to his departure. Machila has been associated with alleged questionable deals. The Democratic Alliance's Dan Plato was elected as Cape Town's new executive mayor. This after the previous mayoral committee members were dissolved following the resignation of former mayor Patricia de Lille. In December, de Lille would officially announce the new name of her party, Good. She said her idea of a new political movement is one that's going to positively change the political landscape in South Africa. Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba apologized for what he called his insensitive social media post after he tweeted about arrest of a man pushing a trolley filled with severed cow heads. DA Chief Whip Johan Steenhuisen came under fire from social media when it came to light that he did not have a university degree. Tweets called it an example of white privilege. The South African National Editors Forum condemned the EFF's recent attacks on journalists. SANEF warned journalists that if they feel threatened at any political rallies, they should leave. SANEF further called for an inquiry that will look at whether the media is captured. The North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria gave the go-ahead for AfriForum to send a sheriff to go and seize assets from the EFF headquarters in Johannesburg in a matter involving calls for land grabs by the EFF. The ANC threw its weight behind the party's Gauteng leaderships on the need to review e-tolls in the country's richest province. ANC Treasurer General Paul Mashatile said the system is unworkable and unaffordable. In other news, 5 Saudi officials faced the death penalty for the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who was dismembered inside the kingdom's Istanbul consulate. But Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was not involved, the prosecutor said. The announcement follows growing international outcry over the killing of Khashoggi, a Washington Post columnist and critic of the Saudi rulers who was last seen entering the consulate on October 2nd to obtain paperwork for his marriage. VBS Mutual Bank's minority shareholders appointed a legal team to challenge the ruling of the Pretoria High Court, which granted the South African Reserve Bank a final order to liquidate VBS. The suitability of the last 2 candidates to lead the National Prosecuting Authority was tested and concluded. 11 hopefuls were grilled by 8 panelists. Following the conclusion of the interviews, the panel will deliberate and select 3 names to submit to President Cyril Ramaphosa so that he can make an appointment. Eskom announced the implementation of Stage 1 load shedding in the country. Eskom said it was forced to do so because of a lot of breakdowns at their power stations. Insurance company Momentum bowed to public pressure and said it will pay the 2.4 million rand death benefit to the wife of a Durban man who was killed while defending his wife during a hijacking. Momentum had faced a storm of outrage after it refused to pay the claim because the victim, Nathan Ganas, had not disclosed his high blood sugar levels. And finally, Pick n Pay faced outrage from social media users after the Maid and Gardener mugs. The giant retailer shortly removed the mugs from their shelves. For SABC News, I'm Nina Westhuizen.